Hello everybody and welcome to Armoured Warfare with me, Blackjack. Today we have the Chieftain Mk. Chieftain Mk is a British tank, 2-part ammunition, 120mm rifled main gun, descendant of the Centurion series and a predecessor to the Challenger 1 and its successor the Challenger 2. The tank itself for a tier 5 is fantastic, personal favourite of mine. I think it's probably one of the best tanks at tier in the game. Average damage 420 with a 300mm penetration, which is good enough, if not better than most at its own tier. Average DPM of 3113. She's got 2000 hit points with the Mark 1 engine housing and hull upgrade. The armour on the front is 120mm, although with the modifiers it rolls up to 195. That upper glacis is fantastic, will bounce a lot of shots if you place it right, but your lower glacis, like all tier 5 tanks, is your worst nightmare. 395mm top turret, that's with the Stillborough Pleat package attached, which rolls up to 454mm effective in the meantime. We're going to roll in to a nice little PvE game. And I know, PvE is not the same as PvP, but PvE means that I can bulk out a video and it's not bad footage either. I'll show you a few bits and pieces on the tank itself. The tank itself's got a good rate of fire, as I've said before. It's got good damage at 360 standard. I use the chrome barrel lining and experimental propellant to bump my damage up a little bit because, like the other British tanks in the game, the Chieftain is somewhat lacking in alpha. The accuracy on the gun is outstanding, absolutely bloody ridiculous. Huge fan of the accuracy on it. Like the Challenger 1, again a very accurate gun. Very poor penetration and damage though. No trouble at all with that Leo 2 side armour. You will struggle with higher tier tank frontal, again like the Challenger 1 and the Challenger 2 after it. The hull on this thing is a bit of a letdown. You're never ever going to survive brutal frontal combat with equal tier tanks because they'll just blow your lower plate away every day of the week. Got to play a little bit smarter, got to sit back a little bit, use the terrain to your advantage. The lack of single piece ammunition does this tank a bit of justice. The single piece ammunition loses a lot more penetration over range, and there you go, look, that's a Bradley. It's a Bradley slaying my side armour with no effort whatsoever, but can't get through the turret. The turret on this thing is astounding, 454mm effective. That is not counting the spaced armour, which is something that I thought was a little bit interesting, because you get the additional 200mm from the Stillborough Pleat package, but it also has 100mm of space between. So heat shells are particularly non-effective. PvE games are long and drawn out. The PvE games are also very boring to watch, so don't worry, this isn't going to be a pure PvE. You are okay. You can sit through it or skip to about 7 minutes to get into the PvP side of things. Acceleration on this tank isn't bad at all. Gets there quite quickly, although its top end is nothing to shout home about, 48 km an hour. The turret traverse on it is very good, and the dispersal on your accuracy while traversing and moving isn't too terrible either. Very quick aim times in this tank, very quick aim times. You do struggle with tanks even a single tier above you, I'm going to show you in a moment, because I'll get caught by a Terminator. Now, the side armour of a Terminator is nothing to shout home about either, but the pen of 300mm on this thing is nothing to be proud of. Make short work, very short work, of same tier and lower tier tanks, especially if you're in a good position. You can hold off 3 or 4 tanks because your rate of fire is so bloody good and you are such a difficult target to kill. There you go, that is an OF40, that's a superior? Yeah, superior OF40, so that will have a few of the upgrades on it, and I don't care. They are 400 damage, nice and easy, 458 damage, and then second shot kills him off, nice and quick, boom, dead. Terminator, here you go. Now that is red all across, obviously its weak spots are green. which I failed to hit. Yeah, I know, suck less noob. I damaged a fuel tank twice. It's actually a big light panzer that kills him, which is hilarious. But yeah, crit mod hit, no damage. This is something that you will suffer heavily with on the Western MBTs, because the challenge is exactly the same, except obviously the Challenger is about 500 times more survivable. Oh. One of those days it's going to be. Good shot here, that nice long range one. Boom, straight through, no problem. I roll forward and that BMP is literally just sat there waiting for me, and he died. The other chieftain got him. Straight through the weak spot by the look of it. Alright, rolling up to the next defend zone. I like the change to this map, because before this was a bloody nightmare. Because you had to fight your way up the hill, and then you had the AFVs were already there, and they're that bloody close that your armour might as well be paper thin. And, oh, it was a nightmare. And the spawn rates were all fucked up. But they changed it. They changed it for the better. Changed it for the good. And I am actually completely okay with that. But it's a different kettle of fish in PvP from PvE. This thing is great in PvE, but is out fucking standing in PvP. I'll save the trouble and I'll just take us in. Here we go. PvP game. This is one of the desert maps. I can't for the life of me remember what it's called. I'm terrible for it. I think I'll pop the menu up in a minute and I'll be able to, I think it tells you on there. It's a tier 6 game. Leo 2 AV a piece, although in fact both of the Leo 2 AV ICEs, which were the winter special package. You'll notice I have the outgoing and incoming damage meters up for these, and that's mostly just makes my life a little bit easier because I can keep better track of how much damage I'm doing or taking at any point. I watched my entire team lemming this flank and I thought, oh shit, that's going to be the end of it, we're going to lose. And I was damned if I was going to sit there, turn around and go all the way back, because this thing is not a huge fan of hills. Does not like hills in the slightest. Hills are not its friend, which is ironic considering that it excels at hill popping. Once you get your lower glassy adequately protected, you can pretty much sit there and take as much punishment as the enemy want to throw at you. I come around this corner and I was expecting a real shoot off, and it really just didn't happen. Really didn't happen. I popped myself over, saw him, and bang, straight through the concrete post, not concrete post, straight through the pipes, entirely through the pipes, 400 damage, 463 damage. Boom. He dies very quickly afterwards. That was T64, I think. And then it gets pretty boring. The enemy end up just kind of sitting behind the hills and basically fapping. The Leo 2s don't do anything really this game, which was fun. There is, funnily enough, a Chieftain Mk on the other team. Congratulations to whoever got their hands on one. I'm very envious. None of my streamers loved me enough to give me it, which is a bummer. I wanted the tank, but I don't think I'd have actually driven it. It's basically a Mark V without the still brew package. So, whilst appealing, it's not really any better than the tier 5 itself. I was constantly afraid of getting flanked here. That's something you never want to have happen to you in a chieftain, is getting flanked, because your side armor is non-existent. Utterly pants. I missed this XM800. Looks like I got him. Brilliant. And nope, tracks. Fantastic. Alright then. Alright, I'll scroll off down here then. There is a BMP down to my right. Or a BMD. BMD? Yeah, BMD 1. I have no idea what he was doing. I think he was AFK, or he DC'd, one of the two, but I'll take free damage and I'll take a free kill. Nom nom. That's an ERC, French TD. Wheeled tank destroyer, 90mm cannon. Not really something I need to worry about. Bang. There goes an LAV. I love that. It's a nice easy kill for me. Again, the accuracy on this is outstanding. Like the Challenger 2. Very, very, very accurate. Lacks the damage, lacks the penetration, but if you can find a weak spot and you can hunt a weak spot, you're away. Missed my chance here. The ERC then did something a little bit daft, because he plays peekaboo. There he is again. and he's going to pop up again, trying to run away. And I track him, and I think, oh, he's going to, and then ooh, hello, bang, right up his exhaust. Haven't had you, Frenchie. Brown trousers moment for him there, I think. Trundling on, you'll see what I mean about when I say that hills are not this tank's friends. So I come trundling on to 40 kilometers an hour, 40 kilometers an hour, 40 kilometers an hour, and 20, 15 kilometers an hour. 15. A third of my speed lost on the hill. It starts to level out. I'm like, yeah, brilliant. I start picking up a bit of speed. Go on, engine. Go on, your crappy L60 multi-fuel engine. And then it's like, oh, look at hill. Nope, I'm done. I feel really bad for this Chieftain Mk. He got himself completely surrounded. He couldn't deal with that T64. He's getting hammered by a swing fire, hammered by me. I missed. I didn't miss, actually. I hit his upper plate, not his lower glassy. Advantage here, I did actually hit his engine block. I know that graphically it said I missed, but I didn't. Did actually hit him with that. And there's your victory. The tank itself, as I say, it performs very, very well in PvP. It's very, very accurate, scarily accurate. Good hit point pool, 2000 with the Mark 1 upgrades for the hull and the engine compartment. I would recommend ammo rack if you've got it. Experimental propellant and a chrome barrel lining give you extra accuracy and damage. But there you go. 1920 damage, 3 kills, 2 assists. Chieftain 430 damage was that invisible damage hit. I placed middle of the table in terms of XP. It's not bad, it's not great. The M60 did work. 8 shots, 8 hits, 1920 damage, 403 potential damage caused, so that glassy hit bounced. But as always, have a good day. Later.